The ratings are in for Saturday's Forbidden Door go-home episode of AEW Collision on TNT. Ricky Saints is officially the #1 contender for the WWE NXT Championship. Lexis King wins a blindfold match last night on NXT. Several matches have been confirmed for next week's episode of WWE's developmental brand on the CW. Hendry appears during a WWE live event wrestling The Miz. At the same live event in England, Roxanne Perez hits CM Punk with Pop Rocks. The participants are revealed for the upcoming WWE Women's Speed Championship tournament. Plus, Rampage Jackson says he does not condone what his son, Raja Jackson, did to Psycho Stu. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we begin today's video, you can see right there, we are just 42 subscribers away from 24,000 on our road to 25k in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and be sure to join the ever-expanding WNU. Now, let's begin with the viewership information for AEW Collision this past Saturday. Of course, as I mentioned, it was the Forbidden Door go-home episode of AEW's show on TNT. Now, 2025 has seemed somewhat like a bit of a bounce-back year for All Elite Wrestling, with the simulcast of AEW Dynamite and AEW Collision on TBS and TNT, and HBO Max seemingly strengthening viewership, while shows have largely seen be well received critically. But it hasn't all been sunshine and roses, as last week's episode of Collision found itself back in the 200,000 range, much lower than the show has been doing previously. Unfortunately, the trend continued this past week for Forbidden Door's go-home show. WrestleNomics and the Programming Insider report that Saturday's Collision drew 281,000 total viewers and a 0.07 rating in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. Total viewership was down for the second straight week, albeit dropping only 2% from 286,000. The one bit of good news was in the 18 to 49 demo, which was actually up, rising 17% from a 0.06. Total viewership, though, was well down against the trailing 4-week average, a drop of 19% from 345,000, while the 18 to 49 remained level at a 0.07. Now, in terms of the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics. Shout out to them and be sure to subscribe to their Patreon service. You can see them on the screen right there. Despite the low numbers, Collision still rated in the top 10 on cable for the evening, coming in at number 8. For the second straight week, it appears viewership on cable has been somewhat affected by the NFL, which has been taking a chunk out of WWE SmackDown's numbers on Friday night as well. In an ironic twist, the #1 game on Saturday featured the Jacksonville Jaguars, owned by AEW owner Tony Khan's father Shad Khan, which drew a 0.36 in the 18 to 49 demo. Collision was headlined by the Young Bucks taking on old rivals Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong in tag team action, with the Bucks ultimately picking up the victory. Most would argue the biggest thing on the show was Konosuke Takeshita's first AEW appearance since he won the G1 Climax tournament 1 week earlier. The Alpha continued his hot streak, defeating Tomohiro Ishii in singles competition. Now, before we go on to the next story, a reminder, you can check out all of our affiliates because this video is brought to you in collaboration with our great affiliates. You can find out all of the details regarding them in the comment section below. It's pinned there, or it'll also be in the video description, or you can see it throughout the video on the sidebar. You can get yourself some great products, you can save yourself some money, and you can find another way to support the channel. So be sure to check those out. We really appreciate your support here at Wrestling News 365. Now let's go over to WWE NXT because Ricky Saints is officially heading to WWE NXT No Mercy to face Obafemi for the WWE NXT Championship. However, they may find some common enemies along the way. Ricky Saints earned the right to advance to Fort Lauderdale, Florida by defeating Josh Briggs on the August 26th episode of WWE NXT. After winning the match, he was confronted by the NXT champion. Obafemi promised to make Absolute Ricky appear to be absolutely mediocre. However, their confrontation was hijacked by Dark State. The feared foursome of Osiris Griffin, Saquon Sugars, Cutler James, and Dion Lennox came down to confront the two title competitors. However, once the physicality began, Femi and Saints found allies in Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. The former WWE NXT Tag Team Champions ran to the ring, and the babyfaces would turn back the challenge of Dark State. It was also confirmed on the August 26th episode of NXT that Lola Vice will be challenging JC Jane for the WWE NXT Women's Championship at the event as well. Of course, Lola Vice won the right to challenge for the NXT Women's Championship at the Heatwave PLE taking place over the weekend. Lexis King won a very rare match type last night on NXT. Emerging victorious from the blindfold bout was Lexis King. On the bill for the August 26th edition of NXT on the CW was a blindfold match between Lexis King and Miles Bourne. The last time there was a blindfold match in WWE was in November 2020 when Dexter Lumis faced off against Trevor Lee, formerly known then as Cameron Grimes in WWE. Both Bourne and King had bags over their heads, and the crowd inside the Performance Center directed Bourne whenever he was close to King. The first shot landed was when Bourne hit King with a drop kick. There was another point in the bout when King attempted to launch himself at Bourne, but he sent himself out of the ring in what was a missed suicide dive attempt. The back end of the match saw the referee standing between King and Bourne, and the official told King that he was right there. King went on to poke the referee in the eye, took his blindfold off, low blow Bourne, and proceeded to pick up the victory. Now, matches have been confirmed for next week's episode of WWE NXT. There have been additions to the match card for the September 2nd edition of NXT on the CW. First up is Dark State, that being Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, Saquon Sugars, and Cutler James. They're taking on that aforementioned team of strange bedfellows of Hank Walker, Tank Ledger, Ricky Saints, and NXT champion Obafemi. As I mentioned, Femi and Saints are set to clash for the NXT Championship at the No Mercy Premium Live event on September 27th. At NXT Heatwave, of course, Dark State's duo of Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin defeated Hank and Tank to win the WWE NXT Tag Team Championships. Joining the lineup is a tournament match to determine who will challenge Sol Ruka for the WWE Women's Speed Championship at No Mercy. The first round matchup on September 2nd will feature Candice LeRae versus TNA's Xia Brookside. Also on the docket is a singles bout between Jada Parker and Lash Legend. The two talents have been jawing at one another for several weeks, and it will come to a head on next week's episode of WWE NXT. Speaking of TNA stars, former TNA World Champion Joe Hendry appeared at a WWE main roster live event. Say his name, and indeed he does appear. On Tuesday, August 26th, WWE visited the AO Arena in Manchester, England for an untelevised live event. Stars like CM Punk, Jey Uso, Charlotte Flair, Sami Zayn, Alexa Bliss, and Tiffany Stratton were advertised for the show ahead of time. The Miz also appeared on the show, inviting somebody in the back to face him in the ring. Fans were treated to a surprising appearance from Joe Hendry, who came out to answer the Miz's challenge. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, Hendry went on to pick up the victory over The Miz. This is Hendry's fifth straight singles win in WWE, dating back to his victory over Wes Lee on the June 24th edition of WWE NXT. Now, for those keeping track, The Miz hasn't won a singles match in WWE since February 2024, when he defeated JD McDonough on an episode of WWE Monday Night Raw. At the very same live event, we saw Roxanne Perez hit her finishing move on CM Punk. Roxanne Perez got in on the action at a WWE live event in Manchester, England, hitting CM Punk with the Pop Rocks move. Perez interfered in the main event, which saw Punk, Sami Zayn, and Penta take on the Judgment Day trio of JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and WWE Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio. Despite Roxanne's involvement, Judgment Day were defeated in the six-man tag team match. Roxanne and Punk have always spoken highly of each other in interviews and have been involved in segments together on NXT television. Of course, Punk is set to challenge for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in a fatal four-way match against Seth Rollins, LA Knight, and Jey Uso at the upcoming WWE Clash in Paris PLE. Of course, we will be live this weekend for not only a WWE Clash in Paris 2025 watch-along, but also right after the show has ended, we'll also be live for a Clash in Paris post-show as well. Now, we spoke about this earlier on, but we now know the competitors for the WWE Speed Women's Championship Tournament. Competitors have been revealed for the upcoming WWE Speed Women's Championship Tournament. WWE NXT General Manager Ava revealed that Candice LeRae, who will represent WWE's main roster, will take on TNA's Xia Brookside next week in the first match of the tournament. AAA's Fabi Apache, meanwhile, will take on NXT's Lainey Reed. The eventual winner of the mini-tournament will then go on to face Sol Ruka for the Speed Women's Championship at the NXT No Mercy PLE on September 27th. It was announced at NXT's Heatwave PLE over the weekend that the Speed titles would be coming to the NXT brand. Ruka has been seen with the championship in recent weeks, but never showed her championship on television until recently. She won the title back on April 11th. The future of the men's title hasn't been brought up on NXT programming. That championship is currently held by El Grande Americano, who is yet to appear on television wearing the championship. Now, new episodes of WWE Speed stopped after July 9th, with WWE providing no information on when the series would be set to return. A recent report from Dave Meltzer seemed to indicate that the show had been dropped, despite WWE signing a 2-year deal with X to air Speed exclusively on the platform. Of course, if we get any more details on the future of the Speed program or the future of the Speed Men's Championship, we'll let you know in a future video. And finally, of course, people are still talking about the incident involving Raja Jackson over the weekend, the son of Rampage Jackson. As I mentioned, Raja Jackson, the son of Quinton Rampage Jackson, legitimately knocked out independent wrestler Psycho Stu at the Knox Experience event over the weekend in a planned spot that went too far. Raja entered the ring and slammed Stu, knocking him unconscious. He followed up with over 20 legitimate strikes to the head before finally being pulled away. On Kick, Rampage Jackson addressed his son's actions. He said, quote, "Since the unfortunate incident this weekend, it's hard for me to talk about it. I'm going to keep it 100. I feel bad about what happened to Psycho Stu. I don't condone what my son did at all. Very unfortunate. If I was there, things went down, but I wasn't there. I'm a father. I gotta have my son's back, but I'm going to let justice play out and take its course. Ain't much I can do on that side but be a father. Y'all know I can't talk about this shit. I can't talk about any details or stuff like that. I can't really go into nothing. I hope y'all can respect that. This shit put me in a bad mood. I feel bad about Psycho Stu and his family having to see that shit. I wish I could have been there. Shit is wild. Shit is all over the internet. I see a lot of people editing stupid shit for clickbait to make money. That's not fair. A lot of racist people showing their true colors. You can't stop none of that shit. I'm not taking up for my son or anything. I'm just telling you guys facts. I'm doing what any father would do, being a father in moments like this. Sometimes you're proud of your kids, sometimes you're not proud of your kids. At the end of the day, you're still a father. Hopefully one day I can meet Psycho Stu and shake his hand and have a man-to-man conversation with him. I'm just going to try to get back to being myself. I don't have the right words to say, and I know whatever I say, the haters are going to twist my words and say whatever they want to say. I wasn't there. I was learning at the same rate as everybody else. Then I got down to the bottom of it and learned there's a lot of misinformation out there. Don't believe every edit you see. Y'all need to know that I don't condone Raja's conduct, and I hope Psycho Stu can forgive me as a dad for not understanding everything. Let's see what happens from here, he said. And Rampage said he wasn't going to talk about it anymore and is moving on. Raja himself is yet to comment on the incident. Of course, if we get any more details on the next development in this story, we'll let you know in a future video. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As I mentioned at the top of the video, we are just 42 subscribers away from 24,000 here on the channel, getting closer to our goal of 25k in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to click that like button, and a reminder that this video is brought to you in collaboration with all of our affiliates. You can check them out in the video description below. They'll also be pinned in the comment section, and you would have seen them throughout this video on the sidebar. Check them out. You can get yourself some great products. You can save yourself some money while doing it as well. In addition to that, you can find another way to support the channel. It really is much appreciated. I appreciate everyone for tuning in as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.